Alrighty, today we are doing a camera comparison between my iPhone 14 Pro Max versus the iPhone 15 Pro Max. We're going to go through a bunch of different camera settings, take a bunch of different photos and see what they both look like side by side. I am just walking around now and I'll be switching the mic between both devices, see how my face lights up in the sun, see how the shadows look, everything. We are filming in 4K 24 frames a second, both at the exact same resolution and frame rate to see how they both stack up side by side, and is it worth upgrading for the camera on the brand new 15 Pro Max. So we have a bunch of different tests today and see how they both look. All right, we are recording again with the front facing cameras, again at 4K 24 frames a second. The difference is now I'm recording on log with the 15 Pro Max. I want to put them side by side and see what the footage looks like with non-log footage and log footage, see if I can pull out any highlights and shadows better than the non-log footage and see what the colors look like as well. So this is going to be a good little test with log versus non-log on the new iPhone 15 Pro Max. We are recording now with the rear-facing cameras, again at 4K 24 frames a second. iPhone 15 Pro Max on my right and the 14 Pro Max on the left still. And we want to see what they both look like, just walking around, how everything looks in the shadows. I want to see how everything focuses, see how the focusing does work. Let's see if we walk up to these leaves, how everything focuses. They all look very, very similar. Side by side right now, there isn't too much of a difference at all. We're going to try all the different focal lengths as well, from ultra wide to the 2X to the 5X on the 15 Pro Max, and then the 3X on the 14 Pro Max. So this is just standard 1X camera. They both look virtually the same from what I'm looking at on these screens in front of me. Now let's switch over to the ultra wide and see what they look like. All right, we've switched over to the ultra wide cameras now. Again, just going to do the same thing. They both look virtually the same on the ultra wide. I don't really expect too much of a difference in the video mode, especially on standard video, 4K 24 frames a second. I think when I go to log, there might be a bit of a difference, but right now, it is virtually the same. So this is the ultra wide cameras, and the dynamic range looks exactly the same on both phones. You probably wouldn't even know a difference if you were just looking at it from my screen. So let's switch over to the 2X camera now and see if there's a difference there. Okay, this is the 2X right now, and the only thing I can notice straight off the bat is the colors on the 15 Pro Max look a bit warmer. Now I don't know if that's just the 2X camera, but compared to the 14 Pro Max, they do look a bit cooler. So that's the only thing I can notice right now. Just walking around and see how the stabilization is. Just me hand holding with my tripod with both phones attached to a mount. So from inside the camera right now, from the back of the screen, the 15 Pro Max does look like it's better stabilized, but I wonder how that looks like in post and when I'm editing. It'll be interesting to see both of them side by side. So this is the 2X camera on both 14 and 15 Pro Max. Let's switch over to the 3X on the 14 Pro Max and then the 5X with the 15 Pro Max, and it'll be nice to test that new camera out. Okay, as you guys can see, we've switched over to the 3X on my left, 5X on the right, the 15 Pro Max. That is the difference. So if we zoom on this little tree over there, you can see the difference in how much you can actually fit in the shot. So to get both of those in, you're feeling the frame a lot more on the 15 Pro Max than you are on the 13 Pro Max, obviously with another 2X on top of the 5X on the 3X zoom. So it gets the 5X, which does in this situation become really, really handy. So we can see that guy walking right there. All right, if I zoom in on that sign, let's see what digital zoom looks like. So 9X is the maximum zoom on the 14 Pro Max, and then 15X on the 15 Pro Max. So you guys can see there, they are digitally zoomed, so it's not the clearest of zooms, but that is what they both look like at that zoom range. Both cameras now are recording at 4K 24 frames a second. Again, I am recording the 15 Pro Max in ProRes RAW with log to see the difference in colors. So I have obviously got the 14 Pro Max recording normally. I want to see the side-by-side comparison. It does log really make a difference with the iPhones. With the small sensors like this, can you really notice a difference? Once I color grade the log, I really, really want to know, is there much of a difference between the two footages next to each other? So this will be a really, really good test to see. I'm recording to an external hard drive as well with the USB-C, which is awesome. Finally, we can do that. So this is ProRes RAW on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. We are recording with the ultra wide cameras at 2.8K at 24 frames a second in the action mode to see what it looks like with a bit of stabilization test. So let's go for a run and see how it holds up. So that is action mode, cinematic test with both cameras, 4K, 24 frames a second on both cameras to see the difference. Sun is in the background, so it'll be very interesting to know how both cameras do. I'm walking around now just to see the difference with the 14 and 15 Pro Max. We've just wrapped up the video test outside. I'm gonna go on over to my studio and do a indoor test to see how they both do in low light. And then